Welcome to the Talking Book Voices, the podcast. Get ready to embark on the adventure with us as we dive into and celebrate the magic of the Texas Talking Book Program. Let's raise our voices together and make the world of literature accessible for all. The Texas Talking Book Program is a division of the State Library and Archives Commission and serves as a regional library for the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, a division of the Library of Congress. The Talking Book Program provides specialized library services to individuals who have a qualifying visual, physical, or reading disability, such as dyslexia. In each episode of the Talking Book Voices, we'll delve into the heart of the program, uncovering its history, sharing inspiring stories, and exploring the vast collection of materials it has to offer. We'll bring you the latest updates, interviews with program experts and patrons, and useful tips to make the most of this invaluable program for Texans and beyond. So whether you're an avid reader, someone who with a print disability seeking accessible materials, or just curious to learn about this great program, this podcast is made for you. Don't forget to visit us at www.texastalkingbooks.org for more information. So let's begin the Texas Talking Book Voices, a podcast by the Texas State Library and Archives Commission.
Did you know the Talking Book Program offers a monthly surprise book? Well, we do. Each month, the staff at TBP will choose a surprise book to send out to participants. You won't know the title until you put the cartridge in your player or enter the book number into Bard. For more information, call us at 1-800-252-9605. Hi, podcast listeners. My name is Laura Jean, and I've been a Reader's Advisory Librarian here at TBP for 10 years now. Before that, I've worked as a library assistant at various different academic and public libraries for 12 years.
And I'm Sheila, also a Reader's Advisory Librarian at TBP for a little over 3 years now. One of our major responsibilities as Reader's Advisory Librarians is to know about the different types of books that are available to our patrons. One way to categorize books is by genre. What exactly is genre fiction? For our purposes, a genre is a group of books that have a similar subject matter, like mysteries or relationship fiction. Wait, what is relationship fiction? I'm not sure I've heard of that as a genre.
Oh, that's fair. It's a fairly recent thing, but you may recognize it by its former name, women's fiction.
Oh, women's fiction.
Right? You see, that's why they changed the name of the genre. Women's fiction honestly was too limiting because men write these books too, and it alienated some readers, which we never want.
No, we just want to get the right books to the readers that will enjoy them.
Exactly.
So, how did this change come about?
Well, that's a good question. In my mind, it's really more of an evolution. Women's fiction started as domestic fiction in the mid-1900s. It dealt with what was then known at the time as the women's sphere, marriage and children, that kind of thing. Then by the 1950s, there was so much change in society. Women are part of the mainstream workforce. You have the introduction of feminism, and the title of the genre was changed to women's fiction because a woman's life encompassed more than just the domestic realm, and so fiction reflected that. But for a while now, many people have chafed against the term women's fiction and the assumptions that phrase brings with it.
Like they're only written by women, or only women would be interested in reading these books, or that they always have a pink cover.
Right. And at the heart of these books are relationships. Not the domestic sphere or the workforce or whatever, but relationships that the main character has and how they evolve over time or during major life events. So the name is changed to relationship fiction.
Okay, but how is that different from romance?
Excellent point. Romance books deal primarily with romantic relationships, but relationship fiction books are also about relationships with family, coworkers, friends, and sometimes there will be a romantic interest thrown in there, but it's never the primary focus of these books. Relationship novels are marked by emotional upheaval and self-discovery or growth. Generally, the main character has some difficult life event occur, like a divorce or a death, and it forces them to reevaluate their life. For this reason, relationship fiction also tends to make wonderful book club selections.
So they're often literary fiction?
Well, no, you'd think so, with them being popular book club selections, but no, literary fiction concentrates more on writing style, which focuses more on the lyrical beauty of the words and how sentences are crafted, than on simply telling a good story. Also, literary fiction often focuses on a very realistic look at life, with no promise of a happy ending. Whereas relationship fiction can take on a softer, kinder version of reality. Things are okay, things will get better. In the end, it always retains that sense of hopeful optimism. Quick rule of thumb, if it can be assigned in a college literature course, it's literary fiction.
Gotcha. I feel like I have a better understanding of what relationship fiction isn't, but I still find it kind of vague. Are there subgenres that these books can be categorized into?
I get what you're saying. Well, not as such, no. With relationship fiction, it's more like the romance genre, where you're looking more at familiar themes or tropes that hook a reader in. Basically, you want to know what the reader is wanting the book to make them feel. Now, some popular themes are bouncing back. The main character experiences a significant setback, but then recovers and overcomes the adversity, often emerging stronger and more determined than before, basically bouncing back to a positive position. Unlikely friendships. A storytelling device that depicts friendships that develop between people who appear different, such as in terms of age, personality, values, or socioeconomic level. Family gatherings. These are books that feature a situation that instigates a gathering of family members, say a wedding or a funeral. Thanksgiving. Often after a period of separation, and the typical type of family drama ensues, usually due to conflict between individuals. Home again. The main character returns home to rediscover themselves, renew relationships, and resolve differences.
Okay, but that still doesn't help us understand what the reader is wanting to feel.
No, you're right. You were right. For that, we need a really good reference interview. But we can also try to think of relationship fiction books in terms of tone or mood. Tone is the feeling that a book evokes in a reader. Is the mood of a story light and upbeat, or is it dark and menacing? Is it hopeful or bleak? For the purposes of relationship fiction, we're almost always looking for something life-affirming with the implicit promise that no matter what occurs during the course of the book, the main character is going to be okay. Some of the tones readers might want to feel are moving or bittersweet. These touching books make readers feel emotionally invested in both the characters and the story. These books have a mixed emotional edge, both pleasant and painful, that is sustained throughout the entire book. Your readers are going to use buzzwords like it's touching or poignant. They may say, I want a book that makes me laugh and cry. In this case, the humor is light and accentuates more serious themes. You also have upbeat, sweet, or heartwarming books. These gentle, comfortable reads are sometimes sentimental, always life-affirming, and they don't usually have edgy or potentially objectionable content. That feel-good tone generally lasts throughout the entire book, and not just the ending. Readers may use terms like feel-good, or they may say they don't want anything too heavy, or they'd prefer something light-hearted. These can be laugh-out-loud funny, but they don't have to be. And then you've got the thought-provoking ones. More than just a telling story, these books take on big ideas. Concepts that stimulate continued interest or thought in the reader. And the storyline or plot may be issue-oriented, exploring controversial subjects or covering a variety of emotional or ethical or social problems. Your book club readers may gravitate to these, and fans of nonfiction may also be willing to give these books a try. But remember, These books don't pull punches, so your more sensitive readers may not like them. Emotionally intense. These books have great depth or complexity of emotion, and they explore the inner lives of characters in depth. You generally see this with the family gathering theme, but not exclusively. And reflective. These contemplative books feature characters who think seriously about their lives and place in the world, which can inspire a similar mood in the reader. A lot of relationship fiction have a reflective tone, so if a reader's looking for this, you know relationship fiction is a good place to start. And then inspiring books. These books have an inspiring, enlightening, or uplifting quality, which may or may not be religious in nature.
Okay, well, why do people read relationship fiction specifically then? Because everybody wants to read a good story, right? What are some general appeal factors?
Well, that's a good point. Relationship fiction is an emotional genre, like horror or romance. People are drawn to these books because they want to be made to feel strong emotions. Relationship fiction delivers. These books delve into the emotional connections between characters who are generally recognizable and reliable. You'll hear patrons say, "Well, I was rooting for them," or "the main character reminded me of my friend." These readers want to care about these characters, so you don't find many unlikable protagonists. They may be sympathetically flawed or quirky, but the reader wants to identify with the characters, feel invested in the main character's outcome, and be rewarded for their devotion in the end when things all work out. They also tend to be contemporary. That might help work to make the characters more relatable.
What are some plot related current trends?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. There's the what if or what could be. These are kind of like the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. What if you'd made a different decision at some pivotal moment in your life? How would that affect everything else? Often these books have some time travel or parallel universe thing going on, or magical realism at the very least. Then there are the issue-driven or the ripped from the headlines, the stories that explore controversial themes, which may cover a variety of emotional or ethical or social problems, especially those that are either based or inspired by true events.
So, basically everything ever written by Jodi Picoult.
I mean, you're not wrong. She's the queen of this trend. But other authors write this type of story too. There are also romantic comedies or rom-coms. These are my favorite. Currently, there's a big crossover with rom-coms. It's kind of a light, fun, contemporary version of what used to be known as chick lit. And then essays and short story collections are big now. And those are the best way to get into a genre with which you're not familiar, but would like to dip your toes in. That way you get a sampling of multiple authors, and the stories are shorter, so there's less time invested.
So, I'm willing to try a relationship fiction book, but I'm not a fan of romances.
Well, what do you want this book to make you feel?
Ha! Okay. Well, I want something thought provoking, maybe something that would work for a book club pick. Sure, I'll give it a shot. Well, Laura Jean's given us some things to think about in the relationship genre. Or maybe you're already a fan. So here's a question for you. What is it about relationship fiction that you like? Do you like thought provoking or issue oriented stories? Or novels that are more heartwarming? Or maybe you're already a fan. So here's a question for you. What is it about relationship fiction that you like? Do you like thought provoking or issue oriented stories? Or novels that are more heartwarming? Thinking about what specifically you enjoy about a book or a genre helps us make the best recommendations. And it helps us think outside the box to help you find books in similar genres or from similar authors you might enjoy. If you are a patron of the Talking Book Program, TBP, and would like to receive personalized reader's advisory, please reach out to us. You can contact us by calling 1-800-252-9605 or by sending an email to tbpral@tsl.texas.gov. Our dedicated team is ready to assist you and provide the recommendations tailored to your interests and reading preferences. We look forward to helping you discover new and exciting books. Well, that's just about all the time we have. I hope you take the opportunity to ask us for tips on what to read next. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on TBP Voices.